incredible to see everybody out here.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much for being good citizens in a democracy.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've been traveling across the country these last few weeks, and let me tell you, this is going on all across America right now. If you are with me, and in fact, if anybody wants to come with me, we have a van. No, but if you could see what I've seen, your spirits would be lifted. It is so heartening to see so many thousands upon thousands of people in not just the San Franciscos and the New Yorks and the LAs, but in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Last week there were 400 people, 400 at Occupy Fayetteville. There's a little tiny town in Michigan near where I live called Niles. I don't think they have a few thousand people there. There were over 100 people at Occupy Niles. This is in an area of the state that's really considered Republican. You have a place out east of here, past Sacramento, called Grass Valley. Have you ever heard of it? Last weekend, there were 400 people at Occupy Grass Valley. So, I mean, the scope and the breadth of this is enormous. But that's not surprising to any of us, is it? No. You know, I mean, the media, oh, there they are. Hello. Hello, media. It's a little hard for the media right now. You have to have just a little bit of empathy for them because this doesn't fit into what they're used to. And they're trying to figure it out and define it according to the old model.
Right. That's right.
And the old model was about two parties. Okay, who are you going to vote for? And what do the pundits say on Meet the Press? And the rest of us were always cut out of the conversation.
That's right.
We weren't part of the national discussion.
That's right.
And then they decided that we couldn't even have a seat at the table. And that the wealthiest 400 Americans, 400, have more combined wealth than 150 million Americans combined.
That's wrong.
Is that just the most amazing statistic? And yet we get away with calling this a democracy? What democracy exists where 400 have more than 150 million and the upper 1% get to buy the entire political structure? 1% get to buy the politicians and get their way. Even after crashing the economy and almost destroying the livelihoods of the majority of Americans in 2008, they have successfully kept any regulations off of themselves in these last 3 years. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if I came over to your house later today, assuming, I don't know, if you have...
We got
I was going to give an analogy that might not apply to San Francisco. But if I came over to wherever you are, and assuming you have a internal combustion engine automobile, if I saw your automobile in the driveway and I decided to take it for a ride and go for a drive around the Bay Area today, but I brought it back tonight, have I committed a crime?
Yeah.
I committed a crime, but wait, I brought it back with interest. I filled the tank back up. Exactly. Because I didn't, it's a crime. Wall Street, corporate America, the banks, stole the futures of so many of our citizens. And not only were they not arrested for it, they were rewarded. Can you imagine a thief taking your car or taking something of yours and then they say, oh, we'll bring it back with interest. And then you actually reward them for this? It's the most psychotic, sociopathic thing I've seen in my lifetime. So, What's great about this is that this 1% that buys our political system. Listen, let me just say this too. That the 1%, they're Americans too. They get to vote. We don't want to take their voting rights away, right?
No.
Not all Americans.
And they can run for office even. That right? Right? But here's the deal. Here's the deal. In a democracy, if you're in the 1%, that means you get 1% of the votes. That's it. That's it. And you see, they know that, and that's why they're frightened of this movement. They're frightened because they see this thing taking off like wildfire. It's already so huge, and it's not even organized. The media wants to know who organized this. Who organized this demonstration? Who organized all this?
No leaders.
And I'll tell you who organized it. Bank of America organized it. Chase Bank organized it. Citibank organized it. ExxonMobil organized it. BP organized it. That's who organized it. Thank you. Thank you, Bank of America, for organizing this.
People.
By destroying the lives of so many people. By ensuring that we have a country with 50 million people with no health insurance. By ruining and decimating our educational system so that we now have 40 million functional illiterate adults in this country. 40 million who cannot read and write above a 4th grade level. That's the country that they've helped to create. Because of course, when it comes to education, what more do they need? As long as they graduate people who can operate the cash register at McDonald's or greet you when you come into Walmart. So, you okay? All right. Very good. He's just a working stiff, like you were, right? Yeah, absolutely. No. And you know, he's trying to not smile, but he's really enjoying this. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I thought you had fallen to the ground, and I thought this is not when the media.
Robin Hood.
So, right. I think because they've helped to organize this by foreclosing on so many. I just read this piece by William Greider this morning that of the 55 million home mortgages that are out there, 1 in 5 are currently underwater or facing foreclosure. That's unbelievable. It's like, of that number, that's over 10 million. The foreclosure crisis, as they call it, is, you know, they know the other shoe is going to drop here. They know because they've been holding the shoe. And that's why they're holding on to so much money. You know, they've taken $2 trillion out of circulation that banks and corporations are sitting on in their bank accounts. They never did that before. Before, they would invest the money to make more money, and they would invest it by, say, building a factory and employing people to make things, and then the people take those wages and buy things, and then that's generally how it ran for some period of time. But now they've been trying to figure out for the last 20 or 30 years, how can we make money but not pay people? Or pay them less? Or not pay for their health insurance? Or whatever. How can we have that woman over there on the assembly line working the jobs of 2 or 3 people instead of just 1 person? That's the game that they figured out ever since Reagan, thank you California, was elected president. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, it's such a wonderful state, and then it gave us Nixon and Reagan too. So, go figure.
We're sorry.
Okay, someone has apologized on your behalf. We the rest of America, accept the apology.
Now you got Jerry Brown too.
Has Jerry Brown come out yet?
No. That's a right winger, yeah.
Wow.
The mayor hasn't come out yet.
The mayor of San Francisco been here?
No. It's good. Keep her in her office.
Who's come here? Naomi's been here. But you know, listen, this is the beauty of this movement. It really doesn't need the Jerry Browns or the Naomi Kleins or really the Michael Moores. In fact, I've spent the last 20 years making movies about corporate America and Wall Street. I've occupied it before it was occupied. I was arrested there. I was arrested there with Rage Against the Machine about 10 years ago. And I'll tell you, this is a hell of a lot better than just me and 4 guys in a rock band trying to get arrested when it's happening all over the country. It's so huge, and the police forces don't know what to do about it because the people outnumber their force, their violent force. Can't stop. I was over in Oakland yesterday. The police have backed down. The police are nowhere to be found. The people won. The people stood up. You see, what they were hoping for after Wednesday night was that no one would come back Thursday night. That's what they were counting on. Yep. But everybody came back, plus some. And they came back in larger numbers on Friday. And they're back there again today. This isn't going away. This isn't going away. Well, that's a lot of the media also, they want to know what's next. What are we going to do? What candidates are we going to get behind? Let me explain the derisive laughter that you just heard. We have all spent a large portion of our lives getting behind candidates, getting behind bills in Congress, voting. And I'm not saying that we're not gonna stop voting, but we are no longer going to depend on the old model of getting something done. That hasn't worked. That hasn't worked. And I mean, if we can actually elect Barack Obama to the presidency, something like that would never happen in my lifetime. Even with that, today 13 American soldiers killed in Afghanistan. All right? The war is still going on. What is that war? Why is that still going on? That is not why he was elected to the White House.
Exactly.
He's made Bush's war Obama's war.
Exactly.
We all understood he inherited a huge mess given to him by Bush. The economy, the wars. But he was elected to do something about it.
Exactly.
And to use the excuse that, well, the Republicans are going to filibuster. They're going to filibuster. He never made them filibuster.
Exactly.
You know, they just went, they've already sent us a note saying they're going to filibuster. Okay, well, we better not do anything now. You know, I mean, that is not the mandate he was given. He was elected by a 10 million vote margin. That's 3 times what Bush beat Kerry with, even if you don't count Ohio. So this movement is not about getting behind a candidate or a bill right now. Right now, our main job, remember, this is only 6 weeks old today. All right? 6 weeks. Just 6 weeks old, this movement already has, according to the National Journal, the support of 59% of the American people. If you're my age or older, you remember other movements, the feminist movement, the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, the hippie movement, and anything else that emanated from San Francisco. But did we have 59% of support for the American people in the 6th week of the movement? No! This is years it took. Years! You know, just with gay rights, last month was the very first national poll. Very first time the majority of Americans, 54%, said they believe that gay marriage should be the law of the land. The majority of Americans. But how long did that take? Too long.
200.
This movement in 6 weeks, 59% say they agree with the aims and goals of this movement. And yet the media keeps asking the question, what are your aims? What are your goals? I think it's quite clear by the name, Occupy Wall Street. Period. And if you need a definition of that, it means we, the people, want to occupy the economy that is ours. Democracy. It's as simple as that. We're demanding democracy. This is our democracy movement. And I want to just say something here and give some credit to somebody, because people, they keep asking again, well, who started this? Who's the instigator of this? You know, and I say, first of all, we're all instigators. And there are no leaders because we're all the leaders of this movement. And there's no spokesperson. We're all spokespeople. Anybody here can speak at the General Assembly. Right? So, right, you ready for the important part? Oh, Michael Moore was singing the time today. What's happening?
That's democracy, Michael.
Just sit here.
We love you. Hello, Michael.
I wore a sweatshirt today because I figured I was in San Francisco, and there's only like 5 warm days out of the year here, but this turned out to be a nice one, didn't it? No, that I wanted to say something about if they're trying to find out who instigated this. We owe a lot to the Arab Spring and the democracy movements that were and are taking place across the Arab world. And we owe a lot to that young man in Tunisia who couldn't take it anymore and set himself on fire to make this statement that really ignited this movement. But even before that, what got him upset, what got him politically charged, was that he read the truth about the corruption of his own government that was supplied to him by WikiLeaks. And where did WikiLeaks get that information? Allegedly. From a young private, a gay soldier by the name of Bradley Manning. And let's give it up to Bradley Manning. Tragic and criminal that he is still in jail, having not been charged with a crime or put on trial, after doing a very brave thing that when you draw the connecting lines from A to B to C, we're here in part today because of his courage. And we must not forget that. Will you promise me that?
We should rename this Bradley Manning Plaza.
Bradley Manning Plaza, that's a good idea. There we go. Can we try to reach some consensus on this? People in favor? Opposed? All right. Thank you for having me here today at Bradley Manning Plaza. In conclusion, I'm going to head over out to Grass Valley because I'm trying to also go to these small towns where this is happening and support their efforts. So I'm going to go out to Nevada County because if it's happening there, you know it's happening everywhere. You're not alone. And if people ask you, well, what has this accomplished? Occupy SF. What has this accomplished? It's already had some incredible victories. Victory point number one, it has killed despair. The despair that so many Americans have felt. So many people thinking there's no way out of this. I'm alone, or it's just me and a few friends. Now they've seen across the country that they're not alone, that they are in fact in the majority. This movement has eliminated that feeling of despair. The second thing it's done, it has killed apathy. It has killed apathy. There are so many people who haven't been involved, who've just been sitting at home, angry and upset, but figuring, what can I do? A question that should never be asked in a democracy. What can I do? In the sense of, in other words, there's nothing I can do. That is over. That is over. People, every week this thing builds. Every week it grows. Because people are coming out of that place of apathy. The third thing that this has done is it has changed the national discussion. They don't talk about the debt ceiling anymore, do they? Or the deficit. That was just 6 weeks ago. That's what they were talking about 6 weeks ago. That's gone now, isn't it? This is what they're talking about. The issues of this. That is what they're talking about. You helped to change that. So, remember, this is just the infancy of this movement. And remember, too, that it's good that it's not, quote, organized. I think that's been its success, in fact. So, beware of any group or individuals who want to co-opt this or turn it into a left Tea Party. Don't compare us to the Tea Party. That's something funded by the Koch brothers. All right? This is supported by the majority of the American people. Never forget that. So, I know we're in a General Assembly here, and we need to let other people speak. Everybody in this park has a story to tell. And I tell this to the media who are here. Everybody here has a story about what it's like not to have health insurance, what it's like not to have a job, or to have a job, but to be told that you have to take less money. People in this park know what it's like to have their house underwater. Students here know what it's like to be in debt at the age of 22 in hock for the next 20 plus years of their lives. No other civilized country does that to their young people. In other countries, they make sure they can afford to go to college, and in many countries, such as France, they don't pay to go to college. And it doesn't matter in France whether you go to a trade school or the Sorbonne. You go for free. You go for free. Why is that? I mean, you have to pay for your books, and there's a few fees. In fact, they will have demonstrations over, a fee raise of 20 euros. But why do the French do that? Are they better than us? I don't think so. I mean, it's human beings, right? We're all human beings. We're all basically good at our core. So why do the French do this? They do it because they want to live in a society that's not only civilized, that not only treats each other well, but a society that can get better. You can't get better if you have an uneducated country. If you have a lousy education, things will not advance and get better. We will not fix the things we need to fix if we keep a population ignorant and stupid. 40 million functional illiterate adults works in the benefit of those who are in charge of this country. And this must be stopped. So thank you for letting me take a few minutes to say this before I head out into the Republican territory of California. And yeah, Flint is occupied. It has been occupied for a long time. But keep this up. Don't despair. Know that tens of millions are with you, and make this thing grow. Do not stop. Do not relent. When they ask you, why aren't you in Sacramento occupying, or why aren't you in D.C. occupying? The answer is because we. Somebody they shut them? Because we live here.
This is the front line.
It's because the California corporations that are headquartered here in San Francisco, they call the shots for Sacramento. Why waste your time right now in Sacramento talking to the servants of their masters? You're here. All right? We're not in D.C. We're on Wall Street because that's who pays for the politicians in D.C. Why waste your time with the middleman? We have taken it to the source. You have taken it to the source. You have done something that is going to be historic. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Occupy San Francisco.
I don't think we're